2025 hot takes.
So before we get into this, I do just want to say this. These are things that we're saying could absolutely happen. It's a long shot. This is not what we believe will happen this year. But these are things that absolutely could happen.
Wait,
So
so it's something we don't have to believe?
we don't have to believe it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you already mentioned it. Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee and college football this year. That's a hot take.
That was definitely a joke, but all right. The fact that he said both of that,
not
wow.
just the state of Tennessee, but he said college football as a whole.
But he's been playing too much NCAA 25 and probably went all the way and Road to Glory and thought he was, I don't know, just got a little out of touch reality there. But I will go ahead and kick things off here and say that Auburn will win the Iron Bowl.
I don't know if that's a hot take.
How is that not a hot take?
I think I believe that.
That's a hot take. I don't care what you
say.
No,
I mean, obviously, overall, it is a hot take. But
I mean, Auburn and Hugh Freeze has been god awful for the first 2 seasons,
but me personally, I don't know if that's much of a hot take because I think that absolutely could happen this year.
I mean, it is an Iron Bowl and it kind of is a coin flip, but I feel like Alabama's kind of found ways to win.
Yeah,
but I think this year Iron Bowl, Hugh Freeze gets it done.
I think that absolutely.
And I'll get hotter, but I just wanted to start with a single game here, so let's just.
And you know what? It's funny that your number 5 had to do with Auburn because my number 5 also has to do with Auburn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and just full disclosure, Skylar and I today, we did go through our list of the top Tennessee moments together, not in order, but we have no idea what each other put on the hot takes. We wanted this to be off the real.
I didn't write these down. This is straight. I'm shooting from the hip here. Yeah.
So I did write some down. So I've already mentioned that I think Florida could go 9-3 or better this year. So I put that down, but to add a little bit more.
Well, they will be beating Tennessee because we go to the Swamp. So
yeah. So I wanted to add a little bit more to this to make it more of a hot take. Florida and Auburn both go 9-3 or better this year.
Let me add some spice to that. Florida goes 9-3 and Billy Napier still gets fired. I'm joking. I don't know.
No.
But I think Auburn going 9-3 is actually insane. I 100% don't see that happening. If this was the Josh Pates scale, I give it a 9.5, a 9.5, because on the boldness scale. And the reason why is, have you looked? I mean, just a quick glimpse at Florida's schedule.
Florida's schedule is brutal. It absolutely
it's stupid. It is. They play Texas. They play, I think, Georgia, Tennessee.
So I've
Miami.
Got their schedule.
Yeah. Read it out. This is insane.
So they start off against Long Island. That should be a win. USF, I do think that's going to be a win. You know, Alex Golish, USF team, but I think Florida has got that game this year. Then you go on the road to LSU. I personally think Florida's going to go down and beat LSU.
And that's fine, but that's still a tough game. So
it is.
You got to work out the probabilities here. Even if they get the win, still a tough game.
It is.
This all contingent on Lagway being healthy the entire year.
And the offensive line being able to hold him up.
Exactly.
That's a very experienced offensive line this year, by the way. They're returning.
He lost wide receiver depth. Obviously, they've done great work in the portal, but still young and inexperienced. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So go on the road to LSU, then on the road to Miami in week 4.
That's tough.
Bye week before you host Texas.
That's tough.
Then you go to Texas A&M.
That's not great.
Then you host Mississippi State.
Easy. Should be.
You have a bye week before the cocktail party against Georgia.
That's
Then you finish off the season with a road trip to Kentucky, a road trip to Ole Miss, a home game against Tennessee, and a home game against Florida State.
I think there's 4 games in that list that I just don't think there's a snowball's chance in crap they win. And then there's a good 3 or 4 games that are complete toss-ups.
So which are the ones that you think that Florida loses? I'm going to say Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss are the ones that you're saying?
That's pretty much exactly. And I would even throw in Miami. If it's not Ole Miss, it's Miami.
So here's my thing about Miami. I don't trust Cristobal.
I don't either.
I don't trust Carson Beck.
again, the way Miami's season ended last year, Mario Cristobal is probably thinking this is it. We just spent $4 million on a quarterback. Mario Cristobal's had some very questionable calls in his coaching career, which is why we don't trust him. But at the end of the day, talent is still talent on the field, and they're still going to play. Carson Beck also lost his girl. Like, that's going to be some motivation. Like, boy's going to be playing now. He's going to be locked in. He's not chasing women anymore because he don't have a car. And sorry. Yeah. If you don't know, Carson Beck's vehicles got stolen. I think he got them back, but whatever.
So like I said, I don't necessarily believe that Florida is going to go 9-3 this year, but I think it's absolutely could happen. I think that it could. Now, it's a long, long road to get there, but I think that it could happen. Now, Auburn on the other on the other side of it, before we move on, they've got a more favorable schedule. You play Baylor on the road to start the season. You play Ball State and Alabama before going on the road to Oklahoma. And I think that's a huge swing game on the season for Auburn. You travel to Texas A&M. Then you host Georgia. Then you have Missouri at home, Arkansas on the road, Kentucky at home, Vanderbilt on the road. That's going to be a tough matchup, by the way, according to Diego Pavia. Mercer at home, and then the Iron Bowl that Auburn gets at home this year. So I think that Georgia, that's probably going to be a loss. Then you've got, I'd say Texas A&M is probably going to be a loss. And then that Oklahoma game is going to be tough with it being on the road. Like I said, that's probably a swing game. And then the other one on the schedule that I would say is that swing, will Auburn be an 8-4, 7-5, 9-3 team, is going to be the Iron Bowl.
You want a spicy hot take for my number 4?
Go for it.
Texas misses the playoff entirely. And that's
a hot take.
It's very hot because their schedule is very favorable.
Yeah.
But I think they missed the playoff entirely. Too much hype around Arch, and I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't. Truth be told. That's my number 4. I ain't got a lot of details to that. Just shooting from the hip here.
That could absolutely happen. I'm going to pull up their schedule real quick.
Well, so they play Georgia. I know that. They play A&M. I know that.
Against Ohio State. Yeah, they start the season against Ohio State. Then,
Ohio State's probably not going to be good, though, because all the pressure's off Rondé's shoulders now. So
I don't know. I mean, it's also at the shoot. So,
yeah, that's fair.
So Texas does go on the road to Florida. I do think Texas is a better team than Florida, but you cannot count out Florida in the swamp, no matter who you are. I know it's more towards Tennessee, but then of course you can never count out the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. Kentucky will be no problem. Mississippi State, no problem. You got the Georgia game, and then as you mentioned, the Texas A&M game. So yeah, I could see Texas missing the playoff because if you lose,
I think they have the best odds to win it all too right now.
Right now they do.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you lose to Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas A&M right there, and you're 9-3, yeah, you've got a shot at not making the playoffs. So I do think that Texas has got the highest paid roster overall out of any team out there. So it's favorable for them to make the playoffs. But it's something to watch this year. Is the pressure going to be too much for Arch Manning? Is the hype too real? I mean, we saw that last year with Nico. The hype was there, and Nico just didn't deliver. Is Arch going to be the same way? I mean, you never know. And Steve Sarkisian is one that until this past season, he really has not lived up to expectations to Texas.
No.
So I like that one at number 4.
Thank you.
My number 4. Alabama goes 9-3 or worse this year.
No, that's not a hot take, but all right.
So Alabama,
Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee, which means they're going to beat Alabama, right? So,
and apparently Auburn. So they played both of them this year. They're going to run Tennessee and Alabama.
No, so that actually lines up with what I think we've all been thinking though, because if they lose the Iron Bowl,
you also got Georgia in there.
So Georgia, and then would you give Tennessee the nod there, even though it's on the road? I don't think so.
I would say either Tennessee or they traveled to South Carolina this year. And we all saw that game last year.
That was a 1-point victory for the Tide last year, I think.
A game that South Carolina should have won.
In Bryant-Denny.
Yeah. And then I don't think that Florida State's going to be back to where they were a couple years ago, but you never know what Florida State's going to have.
Hot take. Florida State makes the play. No, I'm joking. No, I like it though. So 9-3 or worse for the Tide.
Yeah. And also you've got the quarterback.
Okay.
I won't say controversy, but the inexperienced quarterback with Ty Simpson.
Would you further that hot take to say that Kalen DeBoer gets fired if he goes 9-3 or worse and misses the playoff again?
That would definitely further that. I think that
let me
fans,
reword that and say, do you think he gets fired if he misses the playoff this year?
I think Bama fans would be ready to fire him.
But as an
athletic
director, is that how you want to run your business? Like
I was gonna say, I don't know if the athletic director and the boosters and all that would pull that trigger this year. But if he does it 3 straight years missing the playoffs, absolutely, he's gone next year. But I don't know if this year. All right, hey, here's where it
gets messy. If they miss the playoff again and then Ryan Williams,
if he leaves,
transfers, gone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think it all depends on if it's 9-3 that Alabama goes again this year, then I think he stays. If it's 8-4 or worse that Alabama goes this year, he's fired.
Right on. Got to watch out for Oklahoma too, because they got them on the schedule. So no, okay, I like that. All right, so my number 3. From the hip.
All right.
No pressure. This will be the season. Mark Stoops gets fired. And that is a hot take.
It's bad that it is so bad that that's a hot take, but it's because he's making so much money and football is not necessarily the highest priority.
How KPD or State Patrol for Kentucky hasn't arrested this man for robbery after the last couple seasons? Like, it's
bad that that's a hot take, but it is.
And it'll be when Tennessee beats them. Like, 100%. Like, walking off the field, he's going to be told, like, hey, you don't have an office anymore. Just go home.
Would it be that, or would it be all right, does he get fired by the Tennessee game, or do they wait until Vanderbilt beats them on November 22nd?
Just because of the obvious comments, I kind of hope Kentucky beats Vanderbilt. But no, I think it's Tennessee beating them, because I think it nothing's more beautiful to see than Kentucky fans crying about something they really feel like they should be getting, but they're just delusional. But they get so mad because I'm pretty sure we go to Kentucky this year. It's going to be a night game. I think it's already like scheduled. It's a night game.
Yep.
They're going to truly believe they're going to win that game. And then we're truly going to win that game and walk out of their own stadium joyful again and again. And like, I've seen Kentucky fans literally crying because even in our down years, we find a way to beat Kentucky. And I credit Kentucky. They found ways to beat Florida the last 5 years or so, like 3 of the last 5 years. But for some reason, they just can't beat Tennessee. And yeah, I think Mark Stoops finally gets canned. And that is a hot take because, I mean, we've said it for so many years that dude had the best job because he literally only had to go 6-6. Like, their fans are content with that. And he can't even do that now. He's terrible.
So, we talked earlier how Tennessee and Vanderbilt is one of the most lopsided rivalries in the history of college football.
And then you looked up Tennessee and Kentucky.
Since 1893, Tennessee is 85-26-9 against Kentucky.
And again, you can thank Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt. No, I mean, like, Jarrett Garantano, I think
even Jeremy Pruitt beat them. Now, you had the 1 year where Garantano threw like
3 pick sixes.
So.
Yeah, but Garantano also beat them at Kentucky. It was weird. Garantano that was a weird stretch, but hey, he's a VFL. All the respect in the world. He just had a tough time here at Tennessee. Clearly, not the good coaching that he deserved.
Yeah.
All right, what's your what? We're at the top two, right? What's your number two?
So this is my number 3 before we move to the
Oh,
top 2.
my bad.
South Carolina makes the college football playoff this year.
No shot. That is a hot take.
So South Carolina schedule this year, they start off against Virginia Tech. That's on a Sunday night. I believe that game is in Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Then you got South Carolina State and then Vanderbilt to start the season. You travel to Missouri in game 4. You get Kentucky at home. I think you start off 5-0, easy to start the season. Now, playing Missouri on the road is not easy, but I think Missouri is going to take another step back this year with all that they lost. So I think 5-0 to start the season. Then you travel to LSU on October 11th. And another game that South Carolina really should have won last year. And honestly, I think South Carolina can go on the road and win that one. But that's it. That's a toss-up game. You get Oklahoma at home, and I think South Carolina wins that one. You get Alabama at home. I think you're going to have some South Carolina folks ready for revenge after last year's game. You go on the road to Ole Miss. That one could be a toss-up after the way that South Carolina just absolutely ran Ole Miss. Then you go to Texas A&M. I'm going to chalk that up as a loss. Then you got Coastal Carolina and then Clemson at home this year. And mind you, South Carolina has owned Clemson over the last couple of years.
No shot. I think you're forgetting that the head coach for South Carolina celebrates good punts.
That's fair. But I think that Lenore Sellers is a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. Not to mention what all they brought in around him in the transfer portal and what's returning.
Okay, Cam Ward was the number 1 overall pick. But guess what, buddy?
Yeah, but Miami didn't have a defense. South Carolina at least has a defense.
I'm just saying, like, no, I'm not that big. Look, even if Lenore Sellers is that dude, which I do respect the crap out of Lenore Sellers. I don't know if you've seen the comments and posts about where he had like a $4 million offer in the NIL portal, and he turned it down just strictly because he was happy at South Carolina, and I think that's huge. I think that shows a lot to the coaching staff and to South Carolina on what they're doing and what they're implementing. But I just, at the end of the day, Shane Beamer's a clown, just like Eli Drinks. And
I don't disagree with that.
And I don't think they are capable of winning 10 games in the SEC, period. Is that a hot take?
No. I just feel like the schedule is favorable for them this year to do it, along with what they have returning.
You said LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, Kentucky.
But once again, all right, so Oklahoma and Alabama, you get at home this year. LSU is on the road. Ole Miss is on the road, and Texas A&M is on the road.
And A&M. There's 3 losses in there.
I think they get at least one of those 3 games on the road.
And they might. But you're also betting on them not dropping a game they should win. And I feel like Shane will do that. Shane didn't do that last year. Shane didn't do that last year, but the chance of him doing that again this year, I just don't see it. That's a good hot take.
And that's why it is a hot take, but it absolutely could happen. It is a long shot.
Okay.
Number 2.
Are we at the top 2 now?
We're at the top 2.
We are at the top 2. Hot take. Should I do something Tennessee related, or is that homerism?
Spoiler alert, number 2 is a Tennessee take for me.
Okay, then I'll go Tennessee take here. Which way do I want to go with it? Because I had like 2 different scenarios, offensive and defensive. Nah, I don't think I want to pull the trigger on that. But I'll let you know what I'm thinking. Boo Carter, Heisman candidate.
It's definitely a long shot. But, I mean, we literally just had a college football player that was a 2-way player that won the Heisman. And if Boo Carter's going to do that this year, he absolutely could be.
The problem is I don't know how involved. I think
Exactly.
defensively, I think he is good, like Gerard McCoy type good defensively. Like Gerard McCoy is obviously I think ranked as the top 2 cornerback in the league right now
But that
preseason.
is the question. How involved is he going to be on the
But if he's
offensive side
involved
of
in the
it?
slot with Mike Matthews outside, with I don't know who else on the offensive side, but like if he's involved, he's 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 got the playmaker ability to be a Heisman. But I'm not going to go there. I am instead going to go with um Tennessee has 2 first-round draft picks in the 26th draft.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Boom.
Yeah, I can absolutely get on board with that.
That's my number 2.
So who are you thinking? Because I've got a clear number 1.
I think we both have the clear number 1.
Jerome McCoy.
100%. You want to know who my number 2 is?
Who's your number 2?
I think because of the position, but it's a long shot because he's got 0 hype this offseason. But I think it's the edge, Joshua Josephs.
It's bad that we're both on the same page there because I was thinking Joshua Josephs would
God
be the
dang
other one
it.
as well.
Yeah, I think it's Joshua Josephs.
Now, if they're
Now he's
I
mean, he's gonna have to have a ball every year, but he's been steady. Like his first 3 seasons have been rock solid.
if I had to go another route for a player that could possibly be a first round draft pick, I would say Bryson Eason. Or no, I'm sorry. Bryson Eason was this past year. He's gone now. Why do I have this past? No, that's right. No, he's a senior this year. Yeah, Bryson Eason.
But you want to know who's draft eligible that I think also could be a dog first rounder? Arion Carter.
That's a wild card pick for me. Yes, Arion Carter could absolutely. Now, I will say
he would be a true junior though.
I will say with how I'll say lost Tennessee linebackers kind of get in the shuffle of this defense, I think it would definitely be a long shot. I think he could be a mid 3rd to 4th round draft pick, but to be a first round, I think he's just got to absolutely show up and show out this season. But he's definitely got the skill set, and he will be a NFL player whenever he's done in college. That's 100%.
And
But he's got to absolutely show up.
Wide receiver has a chance to get drafted. I don't think Brazel's first round material, but if he pops off, has a 1,000-yard season, who knows? But Brazel has all of the tangibles that you want. I mean,
yeah,
we'll just kind of see. If Carter can stop getting lost, he'll be great. Yeah, and that's exactly what Michael was saying. What's up, Dalton? Man, it's good to have you here. I'll be seeing him in the morning. And yeah, Arion Carter. And I think it's really just you've seen him play great sometimes. I mean, think of Florida. He got the pick right there. He floated back in coverage perfectly, read the quarterback's eyes, picked off DJ Lagway, was really a tipping point in the game. But I love our linebackers in the sense of in the rush game. I don't think we've had linebackers fill the gaps as well as we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. Just absolute aggressiveness, the blitzing that we do with them. I would like a little bit more creativity there. But overall, Arion Carter, I mean, you look at him on paper, that's a dude. I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah. Absolutely. So my number 2 on the list, as I said, it is also Tennessee related. Tennessee goes 11-1 this season.
See, I wasn't gonna do that because I didn't want to get hit with the like, oh, you're just being a homer, and because I can see the comments right now just flooding in like bull crap. I mean, it is a hot take, so I
was gonna say that. Like that's why I said it because it's a hot take.
Tennessee ain't going 11-1, and I'll tell you why. Josh Heupel keeps losing games he's not supposed to lose. Now, this year kind of shapes up great for him, but is it going to be Florida? on the road. Is that even a game you would consider one that you're not supposed to lose, considering we haven't won in the Swamp since 2001?
Look, I've already said it on the podcast here before. There is 4 things that Josh Heupel has to do this year to have to have a undefeated season.
And 3 of the 4 is something that's never been done, right? Is that where you're going with this?
Yes, 3 of the 4 is something that he has not done.
It's either beating Georgia.
Well, actually, no. So all 4 of them he hasn't done.
It's either beating
You've got
Georgia,
to beat Georgia, number 1. You've got to beat Alabama on the
or
road.
Florida on the road.
Yeah. I was going to say number 3 is Florida on the road, and then number 4
is losing that game.
Yes.
Which
you have to win all the games you're supposed to.
Which this year, I think the only road game that is, other than Florida, but that's already taken, is Mississippi State.
Yeah, because Tennessee's going to Lexington and beating Kentucky. There's no question
so
about that.
It's really then you got to pivot back to who's your home games. Yeah, Kentucky. We're not losing to Kentucky. It's Oklahoma, isn't it? Like, as far as like a pivotal game in the season, it's Oklahoma.
That would have to be the game, because I don't think that with the revenge factor that Tennessee is going to lose to Arkansas at home this year. Oklahoma would have to be the game. But sitting here today, I don't think that would happen. But yes, that if there's going to be a game, it would have to be that Oklahoma game.
All right, I like it though. 11-1. Shoot, that's SEC championship, dog.
Exactly. And I do think that Josh Heupel can do 2 of those things that we mentioned. I think that he can, obviously win all the games he's supposed to, and then win one of those 3 other games that we talked about. But to do 3 out of the 4, it's going to be tough. Now, it can happen, absolutely. But man, everything would have to go right for Tennessee this year.
11. Sorry. Huh.
But now
that I've written that down, because you got to write it down. If he does that with everything that happened in the offseason, I will find out what Nico's phone number is, and I will call it.
Which the Tennessee fans know what his number is.
Oh, we know how to find phone numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you remember Stetson Bennett?
Stetson Bennett knows all about it. We actually got our freaking teeth knocked in after that. But it's still funny doing it. I will find Nico's number. In fact, I'll probably find his dad's. Nick. I'll find his dad's number.
What's up, Nick?
I'll be like, hey, buddy, I just want you to know it's not happening from this side. Like, I just want you to know, like, it ain't from us. That would be insane. I think that would be awesome. It is a hot take because I don't think it's happening.
But I do want to throw myself a little bone. I absolutely hope that happens this year, because if you remember last year, I gave a hot take about Tennessee that came true, just not in the way that I thought it would. I gave the hot take that Tennessee would not have a 1,000-yard receiver, but I said that it was going to be because Nico shared the ball with so many receivers that you're going to have several around 900 yards. That didn't happen. But
it's because he missed every wide open deep shot like Joe Milton, and he ran out of bounds on the last play of the game like Joe Milton. It's funny how you learn from your teammates. Like it's funny. No, all right, that's a good one. That's a good one. My number 1 hot take of the year of 2025, football related. The suspense is killing me. I'm not going Tennessee here. I don't think. No, I'm not. Hot take.
All
right. SEC doesn't win another natty again.
I don't disagree with it. I really don't.
Dang it. That's not a hot take then. I don't think they do. Okay, let me further that. No, I can't say that because the freaking conference realignment. I was going to say Big Ten ain't going to win it either, but that's not true because this team is now in the Big Ten. Damn. I'll just go out and say it. Oregon's winning the natty this year. That's my hot take. I guess that's a hot take. Yeah, there we go.
I mean, I do feel like that would be a hot take, especially after the team that they had this past year that should have won it.
Oregon's
until
winning it.
you just got boat raced by Ohio State. I mean,
Yeah. Oregon's winning it.
yeah.
Big Ten's going to be all beefed up because they've won the last 3 and SEC hasn't won. But yeah, I think Oregon's winning the Natty. That's my hot take. That's my number 1.
That's a good one.
Texas record, dude, 9-3. They're garbage. They're going to miss playoff. That was my number 4, wasn't it? Or was that my number 5? I can't remember. But I said Texas was missing the playoff entirely.
Yeah, that was your number 4.
Yeah, Tanner. Sorry, on the TikTok. Yeah, I said Texas is going to miss the playoff entirely. That's a hot take, not necessarily something I'm betting on. But whatever. You can clip it up however you want. Whatever drops clicks, fine. Call me Diego Pavia, honestly.
My number 1 hot take in the SEC this year.
How did you keep a straight face? Sorry. No, take 2. All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm rubbing my hands together on this one because it's steaming hot.
Yeah,
it's a 2-parter. Garrett Nussmeier gets benched before season end.
Oh, this is LSU.
And Brian Kelly gets fired at the end of the season.
Oh, Brian Kelly gets fired. Not gonna happen. I like that. That's not happening. His buyout's like more than Jimbo Fisher's was at A&M right now. It's no shot.
Yeah. That's why it's a hot take. I think that Garrett Nussmeier gets benched before season's end, and Brian Kelly gets fired.
See, the Nuss bus getting benched, in my opinion, is not.
That was not a hot take.
Yeah, that's not so much a hot take.
There is a reason.
Only because he's like kind of inconsistent. There's games he looks phenomenal. There's games he looks rather garbage.
And his own head coach even said that one play he can throw it on a dime, could not be a more perfect throw. And
right.
the next throw, he's throwing it into the first row of the bleachers.
It's the exact same situation at A&M with that freshman quarterback they had last year. I can't remember his name. Huh?
Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed looks phenomenal sometimes, like out of this world, but then like looks terrible other times. So no, Nussbus getting benched isn't necessarily the hot take I'm looking for, but Brian Kelly getting fired. Now, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in the offseason. We didn't have a single firing in the SEC this last year.
Yeah.
Which makes me think shots are about to be fired left and right this year.
So I'm just going to go ahead and throw
Billy Napier goes 6-6 again. Gone.
I'm going to throw this in here because we've discussed it before. But if we had to set the total right now,
we did 3.5 last year.
I was going to say over under how many head coaches in the SEC get fired at the end of the year. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to say 2.5 this season.
Oh, then it's over. 100%. We've already named a couple.
Mark
Stoops, Brian Kelly, if we're going that route. Hugh Freeze.
I don't think Hugh Freeze.
Clark Lee. God forbid Clark Lee with Diego Pavia goes 5-7 or worse.
But he's Vanderbilt. Here's my 3.
They're supposed to run the state, dude. Like, come on.
All right, if we're going with 3, I think 2.5 is the number, honestly. It can either be 2 or 3 firings. But if we're going with 3, it's obviously Mark Stoops and it's Brian Kelly. I'm going Brent Venables.
And that's another one. Brent Venables is a great pick because, let's be honest, brother's underachieved every single year he's been at Oklahoma.
Yes.
Every year. He goes 6-6. I'd even go 7-5.
God forbid that he goes 5-7.
Oh, yeah.
Which could happen.
That's another one. Okay, hold up. Let's do the math here. I'm going to throw Billy Napier back in there because even though there's a lot of hype around the Florida team this year,
and
he goes 6-6 again.
There is one.
There's no way Florida puts up with it.
And there's one name neither one of us have mentioned yet that is still on a hot seat, and that's Mr. Sam Pittman down there in Arkansas with his cold beer.
Yep. So Billy Napier, Sam Pittman. I'm gonna throw in Clark Lee, LSU.
Brian Kelly, Mark Stoops, Brent Venables.
He's Mississippi State's head coach.
That's,
Duke, not Duke's.
You would have asked me. Jeff Lebby. Now, I think I'm not going to throw him in there because this is his second year.
They fired. No, I don't care. They fired the one dude after 1 year.
Yeah, but that was a mistake to hire him or promote him anyway.
Oh, then it's a mistake if you go 2 years at 4-8. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. There is, off the top of our head, there's 5 or 6 coaches we can sit here and pick that say, hey, if you underperform this year, it's bad news bears.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I like it. I like it. Hot take.
Yeah. Brian
BK
Kelly
gets fired.
Yeah, Brian Kelly gets fired along with Garrett Nussmeier getting benched, and LSU doesn't have the easiest schedule. They start off the season against Clemson, and just because of recent trends, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my money is going to be on Clemson at the start of the season in that game, because opening weekend games for LSU have not gone well over the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, you play the
Brian Kelly
trends.
gets fired after week 1 after losing his 4th in a row, his 4th opener in a row.
When you go on trends like that, my money's gonna be on Clemson in that game. You also got
Clemson's not okay, but let me say this though: Clemson hasn't necessarily been the best game 1 team either. I mean, think of Duke. Was it Duke Clemson very first week? That was my upset pick of the week. I think that was both of ours upset pick of the weeks. And Duke literally won it. I don't know. Clemson's not necessarily the best either. But
if we're going with the college football hot take, though, Clemson is at least making the Final Four this year of the college football playoffs.
Not the Final Four. They might make the playoff again, and they might deserve it this time rather than just winning the ACC championship. You can call that deserved if you're not, but they kind of got gifted at the end of that game anyways. Miami's terrible, but
LSU schedule. So they start off against Clemson.
Yeah,
I believe that's in Atlanta. It could be in Death Valley or at Clemson, because both of them are Death Valley. But start off against Clemson. You do have Florida in week 3. You do get that one at home though. You go on the road to Ole Miss. You host South Carolina. You host Texas A&M. You go on the road to Bama, and you finish off the season on the road in Norman. Those are your tough games on the season. Yep. I can see 8-4, possibly worse, especially if you don't get good quarterback play from Garrett Nussmeier.
I can't get over the 11-1 Tennessee take, man. If that happens, Joey Aguilar is a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah. If Tennessee goes 11-1, that means Joey Aguilar has thrown for at least 3,500 yards this year.
And Peyton Lewis is that dude. I'm a big believer.
I'm a believer in Peyton Lewis, but I just don't think you're going to have one standout back. I think you're literally going to have a 3-headed monster that's going to be pretty even overall between Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, and yes, what's his
Star
name?
Thomas? No,
it's not Star Thomas. It's I've got the roster right here.
It's a transfer.
It's a transfer from Duke. Where is he at? Oh, it is Star Thomas. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you were right. But yeah, I think it's going to be that 3-headed monster right there. That's going to be very close overall in yards. Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, and Peyton Lewis. I was going to say, if I had to choose one that's going to have slightly more yards,
probably has the best work ethic.
But I think that Peyton Lewis is probably the best back in that room.
Just built for it. Like, ever since he stepped on campus, like, he just looks the part.
Yeah.